It's FHA. What, you never had anyone give you the answer to a clickbait title thumbnail in the first 2 seconds of the video? Now, I don't mean to judge those who only qualify for FHA or are thinking about buying FHA. I think FHA is a great starting point for any home buyer to consider buying a home. Traditionally, it's normally for a first-time home buyer, so a lot of people start doing their research there. One of the most viewed videos on YouTube are based on FHA. So in this video, I want to talk to you guys about some things about FHA. Once again, not a bad loan per se, but if you're only qualifying for FHA or you're intending to using FHA, you're severely limiting your potential to even get a home in the first place. And we're also going to talk about some cons that are associated with the loan. And last but not least, if you are very stubborn and you're saying, I don't care what you say, I'm still going with FHA, I'll give you some pointers about how to get your offer accepted with FHA. Cool? All right. So for starters, let's talk about what FHA is. So FHA essentially, it stands for Federal Housing Administration. It is also known as HUD. Essentially, it is the main government source of anything to do with housing urban development. FHA loans in the real estate community is basically essentially for first-time home buyers, although it's not necessarily only for first-time home buyers. You could have had a home previously. As long as you don't have a current home, you can get an FHA loan. FHA is very attractive to a lot of first-time home buyers because the minimum credit score is pretty low. People can go as low as 600, and even in some cases 580 to get an FHA loan. And for those who have struggled in the beginnings of their adulthood and they're now in the point of recovery, or maybe they just didn't have great credit history to begin with, then FHA is a great alternative. The great thing about it is it's really attractive because it's only 3.5% down, and the interest rate is pretty competitive. Here is the interest rate compared to conventional as of the making of this video. So yeah, FHA is a great option for a lot of people. And in my experience as a real estate agent for the past 8 years now, geez, I'm getting old. Just to kind of get a good idea, I've primarily helped first-time home buyers for the last 8 years. Probably, I want to say 80 or 90% of all my business has done that. I've done probably, a few hundred at this point. Where did the time go? Where did the time go? So yeah, I mean, even my first house was with FHA. A lot of first-time homebuyers use it, and a lot of times it was a starting point. Usually for a second house, it wasn't recommended. A lot of times for your second house, a conventional loan might work better. But FHA wasn't for everybody. If you were somebody who took care of your credit because you had excellent parents or you're just a good person, unlike I was. So if your credit score was in the 700s, it would make more sense to go conventional. And of course, the biggest con of FHA is your PMI tends to be permanent. It's a little on the higher side and it's permanent. If you don't know how a monthly payment's broken down, essentially it's your principal, your interest, your home insurance annually, your taxes annually, and of course your mortgage insurance. So that ends up being a little, pretty penny, and it's permanent. It's stuck on your loan forever. There are certain things you can do initially to get rid of it, but if you didn't do that, you're going to have that until you sell the house or refinance it or whatever. With conventional, that's not the case, because once you reach 80-20 loan to value, then you can get rid of the PMI entirely. So with conventional, you're actually working towards something, whereas FHA, you're kind of just, you hear something nice and cozy, but the government is going to make a lot of money. PMI is essentially the insurance that the loan person puts against you, because they're like, hey man, I don't trust this guy. I think he's going to foreclose on his loan, so let's take an insurance on him. And with FHA, you're deemed like super dangerous, I guess, because for 30 years, they're like, yes, we're going to put an insurance on you. Even if it's like year 29, month 11, you're about to pay off your loan, those MFers are still going to make you pay PMI. Like, I don't trust this freaking buyer. We're going to still charge them the insurance in case they foreclose on. So with conventional, you get rid of it once you pay off 20% of your value of the house, which increases over time and whatnot. So that's FHA. So essentially for first home buyers, your main options are FHA conventional. And then of course we have other options like USDA, VA, cash, etc., etc. But majority of folks use these two options. So to start off the video, what I did is I looked up the last 6 months of closings in the Phoenix metropolitan area. And what I wanted to do is look at a good percentage of what the closings are, like what's the ratio of people closing. And what I found will shock you. Look at me trying to be a BuzzFeed article. Just for the record, the following numbers are based off every house sold under the FHA max loan limit in Arizona. So it's looking at just numbers in that price range. For starters, let's start off with my biggest surprise. In the Phoenix metropolitan area in the last 6 months, 26% of all sales were cash. So yeah, it's spooky scary, 26% of cash, but of course, What we find out more is all more scary. VA, you know, I made a video once a long time ago where I talk about the discrimination veterans unfortunately facing this housing market. And this kind of solidifies it. 5% of all closings were VA. So they're not getting a lot of love there, unfortunately. Our big daddy was conventional with 51%. And as you guessed it, if you're really great with math already, 17% was FHA, and everything else after that was just like miscellaneous loans like carrybacks and whatnot. 17%. 17%. The number itself isn't too shocking, but what's really shocking to me is the fact that conventional is like 50%, like half of all sales, and FHA is only 15%. This is a clear indication that right now homeowners are preferring conventional to FHA. And if you don't believe me, geez Louise, I actually called some listing agents and I was like recording them, and I was like, I don't know if this is legal or not, so I'm not going to put it up there. But yeah, if you call a home that has multiple offers and you're trying to inquire, and of course you find out there's multiple offers and whatnot, and you say, hey, I'm an FHA buyer, do we have a chance? I had somebody literally laugh at one point of time when I asked them. Some of them are nice and they'll go, yeah, just make your offer and try. But you know, I know what happens behind the scenes, all right? I just explained to you that FHA is more attractive to low credit score buyers, and this is common knowledge. Or maybe a seller's watching my video now, or maybe the realtor's informing them what it takes to qualify for FHA and conventional. So when you present multiple offers, right, to the seller, and there's a lot of high price good offers, and there's two that are identical, one that's FHA and one that's conventional, 9.8% of the time they're going to go with the conventional. They would only go FHA if there's like some kind of personal connection or maybe some kind of good feeling they had about the buyer. But most of the time sellers are going to prefer a conventional buyer. I know that sounds unfair, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately. There's something on the screen. But hey, while you're here listening to me very closely, just a heads up, if you're looking for an agent referral, you should check out homeandmoney.com/Javier. Fill out some information. You get paired with the concierge that finds you your personal agent that's tailored just to your needs. We've helped a lot of people over the years, like almost like hundreds of thousands of people. So we know what we're doing. Okay, so if you're looking for an agent referral, you know, go check it out. homeandmoney.com/Javier, or check the link below. Go get yourself an agent, start looking for a house. Now I'm going to get back to it. So I just want to make sure you hear me out. Okay. All right. So if you think about it, like, if you go FHA, you only have a 15% chance of success. Conventional, you're having a lot higher. So if we're all shooting for the same bullseye, if you're FHA, you're definitely a lot further away. Conventionals right front, cash is right behind you. FHA, you're behind two people, and you're trying your luck. So I don't think folks should be using FHA right now. And there's going to be comments down in the description saying, well, Javier, I bought with FHA. You're full of crap. You're wrong. Yes, it is possible to buy FHA. And maybe some markets are not as heavily crazy like the one I'm in. So I'm not just saying everybody can buy with FHA. It's definitely possible. What I'm saying is it's going to take a lot more effort to do so. What I really recommend you do is really evaluate your situation. You have the down payment. Do you have the closing costs? Great. Do you have a lot extra savings though? Or do you have anything additional to that? You're going FHA probably because your credit score isn't in the 700s yet. You may be close. So you have some money saved now. All I'm going to say is right now things are crazy anyways. It's going to be very hard for you to get a house with FHA. Why not take a step back, use some of that money that you saved for the house purchase, and get your credit stuff in order. Now, don't go pay off your cards and cancel them because you're going to ruin your credit, but you can do certain things with your credit to be more aggressive, to make yourself a better buyer, to give yourself that 50% chance of success. And who knows, maybe that conventional buyer version of yourself not only has a better chance of getting a house, but maybe you'll be better and with more money saved, or you'll have some other more incentive to give to the seller. So that being said, if you just watch this video and you're like, Javier, I don't give a crap, I'm buying with FHA. Here's some tips for you. You got to stop looking at 9s or 10s. You have to do it. You're hurting yourself. If a house that comes out, you're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's the best house I've ever seen. It has granite countertops and golden floors. It's going to be hard to get. Those are the ones that have multiple offers, conventional cash, all kinds of thing. Now, I hate for me, I don't want to say, oh, don't do it, because I mean, I'm sure there's one person out there that got their FHA offer accepted. But what I'm saying is the likelihood of that going through is going to be a lot less, and you're going to hurt yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure. While people fight over the 8, 9, 10s, you get to kind of fight over the leftovers. And I know it sounds so bad, but right now, as in the next few months at least, unless something changes, unfortunately, you're at a minority position where you have to be realistic with what your expectations are. It's like me trying to apply to Forbes hottest man of 2020. Like that's just setting myself up for failure, dude. Like, come on, like why would I do that to myself, right? There's probably not even a freaking somewhere to submit it. I would just email the freaking head editor and be like, hey, dude, can I be there? And they just tell me no. Even, the fact that it's FHA is going to cause some judgments from you as a buyer. As soon as that FHA offer gets presented, the seller's automatically thinking, crap, this guy has bad credit. It doesn't matter if you're at 699. If you submit an FHA offer, they're assuming you're the worst credit ever. You're assuming you're barely at a 600. They're assuming you barely have 3.5% down. So you have to do some extra work of really selling yourself. Like you have to make the call to the listing agent. I'm obviously talking to the agent. Have your agent call the listing agent. Hey man, this is an FHA buyer, but they're solid. They're like at a 690. They have super high credit. They have their down payment. They have their closing costs are super solid. They're not able to go to conventional for this reason, but man, they're freaking they love this house. So please don't judge them, right? So you really have to try to really get something done here. You're not going to just kind of make your offer and be like, you better take my, no, you got to be out there and hustle, grind it out. Last but not least, you still have to be aggressive with your offer. You still have to be going over. You still have to try to, weigh things. And I know it's super scary, but you will find something eventually. The only FHA buyer I've done this year so far, they did a conditional appraisal waiver of like $2,000 or $3,000 or something. So you still have to do something. You still kind of have to make that little oomph to get it. Anyways, guys, that's all the time.
I'm sorry, sir. Are you Javier?
Yes, I'm Javier.
Sir, we found it. We found a way to save the market.
That's impossible. Only a real estate Chad can save the market. I'm not capable of that.
Sir, that's the thing. We found the Supreme Chad.